What's the best magic item you have ever received? For us, it's your viewership. Let us know in the comments below. I don't know if it's necessarily the best, but it's so far my favorite. Well, okay, I have two favorites. Dawnbreaker. My DM took the Sun Sword from Curse of Strahd and allowed us to find the shards of its original blade, thus reforging it and restoring it to its former glory. This gave it an additional damage die in general, and gave it one more still when used against undead targets. 1d8 d10 became 2d8 d10, and then 3d8 d10 versus undead. The Bookmark. This was a dagger that did no physical damage but had the capability to allow the wielder to plant themselves in another person's memories. It was an item that required awakening, where at the base level it only allowed the user to see into their victim's memories. Once fully awakened, you could alter the very memories of an individual, even going so far as to place yourself into them so you appear as a close ally to said person. A devious tool indeed, and I loved it. I'm playing a character that's currently 2 Paladin 9 Storm Sorcerer. The whole idea of the playstyle was to do crazy damage in a very short amount of time by using Quickened Spell to cast Booming Blade twice on a turn and smiting with both attacks. Super fun to play, but burns through resources super fast. The DM gave me a homebrew item around level 7, a special maul that restores 2 sorcery points whenever I use it to kill an enemy. Made the character feel like I could keep up with the rest of the party while still being a reckless, explosive fighter. Getting to use a Mysium apparatus as an artificer changed how I played the class. I never thought I'd use the spell Pyrotechnics, but then I went to a party where they needed festivities. I never thought I'd use Disguise Self, but then we broke into a warlord's lair while he was out, and I got to boss his minions around. Using spells that otherwise get overshadowed on the preparation list is so much fun. In a magic shop, I asked the shopkeep if they had any robes, thinking I'd just get some good flavor gear for my wizard. 1+1 robe of Arachnida later, I was the friendly neighborhood spider whiz. The DM very quickly learned to rue the permanent spider climb, and between the robe's 1 free double-wide web a day and the staff of web I had already, you might say that battlefield control became a sticking point. Ba-dum-ts. We were playing 2nd edition about a dozen or so years back, all of us at level 9 to 12. I was the level 9 paladin. After a serious end-of-chapter battle, we got a soul drinker off the big bad general. DM wouldn't let my paladin use it, but we did discover it was a corrupted holy avenger. That led to the quest to cleanse and purify it, and then restore its true magic. And that's how I picked up a holy avenger at level 10. The Ball Breaker. Magical flail, 2d4 damage. Each time I slaughtered a large beast, I had a potential chance to, augment my weapon. With a bit of magic and smithing, of course. Damage went up 1d4 for every new ball attached. Did you name it Beulah by any chance? An invisibility potion with a warning label to not drink more than a few drops or you will fade from existence. I've been saving it for an opportunity to assassinate. An item of my own creation. The Mantle of the Squid. Here's the backstory. My rogue traveled with a pair of cavaliers. After defeating the mighty spider dragon, that's a spider as big as a great worm with a poison breath weapon, no thank you, he was rewarded with some land that had been previously liberated. This land was full of Monty Python level peasants. He became king and used his vast loot hoards to improve the lives of the people. In the first 5 years, he had raised them to very high living standards and created 95% literacy in the land. The people of his kingdom became spies, and the main commodity of his kingdom became information. But he didn't want to be a king that was identified by his personage. So he created the alias The Squid, and made a helm and visor that looked like the head of a mind flayer. He later found an item that allowed him to enchant an item into an artifact, so he made his helm and cape into the Mantle of the Squid. Essentially, it was a helm of comprehending languages and reading magic combined with a helm of underwater action. with the mask granting dark vision and protection from gaze and gas attacks. The cape was ribbed with embedded tentacles and had a swim speed of 120 feet. The tentacles on the face mask were animated and tipped with small razors, programmed to protect the wearer from attack while sleeping. This was the crown of the kingdom, and after 20 years of rule, he became bored, gave the mantle away to his second-in-command, and left the kingdom a stranger. In a level 20 campaign, I got a Ruby Wave gem, and I asked the GMs, "Hey, I have a 9th level spell slot. Is it fine if I can use the Ruby Wave gem to know a 9th level spell?" They said yes. So, my Sorcerin 2014 busted out a Meteor Swarm, followed up by 3 5th level smites on the big bad guy, and was the target for the rest of the session. One of my DMs gave us an item that gave advantage on Constitution saving throws, or a big boost like that. I'll have to see if I can find it and get the full item description, and a boost to Con in general. However, it was a cursed item that caused the one attuned to it to fall unconscious with 0 HP if they ever tried to retreat from battle. I had the item for probably half of the campaign on my light cleric Leona. It basically made it so that I never failed a concentration check and was much tankier than even the average cleric already is. Now the best part is that the DM only told me about the curse after the campaign ended. He kept expecting us to run at various points in the story, but we just stood our ground in every fight, win or lose, and we absolutely should have lost at some point. The kicker beyond that is that in the final battle of the campaign, I had tried to run away to safety or simply away from enemies. Strategic retreating still counted as retreating. I would have fallen to the curse and likely died right there with no one to help or notice me dying. I was literally, entirely unbeknownst to me, a hair away from death the entire time I had the item attuned. It fucking rocked. My favorite magical items have always been the ones that can be applied creatively. +1 armor or weapons are nice, but often forgettable. Some of my favorites are Immovable Rod, Bag of Beans, Marvelous Pigments, Chime of Opening, Robe of Useful Items. They allow the player to think of creative solutions to problems you throw at them, and it usually results in a funny story that they'll remember. An item our DM cooked up to be used by a crime lord during a level 4 combat encounter against the players. However, he did not anticipate just how broken it would be once we looted his corpse. The ring is essentially a D20. When targeted by an attack, you can use a reaction to spin the ring, and on a 1, you receive double damage from the attack, and on a 20, the damage dealt is doubled back to the attacker. On a 2 to 9, damage is halved, and on a 10 to 19, it is negated. I believe it had limited uses, but regardless, it is extremely broken and continues to be one of the DM's greatest regrets from the early game. The player wielding it uses it sparingly though, so it's never been a true balancing problem and has resulted in some pretty badass moments, like a demon rolling a nat 20 on an attack against this player, who then rolled a nat 20 on the ring, resulting in the demon instantly taking 136 damage. Well, so far, I have really only played through a single campaign, but started another one that never finished, both as a wizard. In the unfinished campaign, I got a staff of swarming insects, which the DM instantly regretted, and the second one, I convinced the bad guy wizard to let me hold his staff while we escorted him out of the dungeon. He vanished when we got into combat and left his staff with me. Turned out to be a staff of defense. I was super stoked to get it, and it was super useful. Basilisk Hide Armor. We had to kill it, then harvest the parts, and bring it to an artificer and pay him to make it. Studded leather, resistance to poison, and advantage on constitution saves. The Axe Knuckles, and their cursed form, the Knuckles of Penance. The Axe Knuckles are 2 axe heads that have been forged to have grips for a monk to wield in combat. They add a +1 to 3 to hit and damage, and add 2 to 6d force damage. The amount depends on how long you've had them, and if the curse is broken. The Knuckles of Penance are the same axe heads, but they are connected to chains that burn their way into the wielder's forearms. Instead of force, it deals fire. It is also a strict +2 and 4d4 of fire. The wielder takes half the fire damage dealt per attack and also has resistance to fire damage. My monk sold his soul to a demon, and the demon enhanced his axe knuckles while also cursing them. And my guy definitely wasn't a Kratos knockoff. I made an auto-gnome clockwork sorcerer order cleric intending to be a literal bless bot. At level 3, we completed a side quest that rewarded each player with a pick of magic item from a list. I saw a necklace of prayer beads on the list and instantly snapped it up. The DM rolled for a random bead and got Bead of Blessing, then moved on. I assumed it would only be one bead because a full necklace is incredibly strong for level 3. Once the DM handled the other player's item selections, she noticed that the necklace was meant to have 1d4 plus 2 beads. She rolled a 6 and decided to be lazy. Instead of picking 5 more random beads, she made them all beads of blessing. So now, my character, specifically designed to be casting Bless all the time, can cast it 6 times a day without a spell slot as a bonus action. Haha, I couldn't ask for a better magic item for the build. I had it in my background that my tiefling horn broke off as a child. She saved it all this time and went to a dwarf to craft it into a dagger that can be a magic focus. The DM loved the idea and took me to make the dagger steal a random item from whoever it hits. I can't tell you how many luck rolls that saved the party, with me stealing the boss or creature's weapon. It's a low shot of getting it, mind you, reason why I love this item, as the rolls were on my side. My Physician's Satchel. My primary character is an Aranai elven doctor, cleric healer, who's been studying medicine for centuries. She carries a black leather doctor's bag everywhere she goes. Whenever she faces a medical emergency, our DM has me roll a 6-sider to see whether I have exactly the right medicine or equipment to get my patient healed. Probably one of the homebrew items my DM gives out each campaign. He has made an item for each player character in each of the 3 major campaigns we've done. One example would be a magical book my lore bard had in Wild Beyond, the Witchlight, that allowed her to ask any question once per day. The book would not have all the answers as it could only give knowledge the writer knew, but it allowed me a lot of info about the campaign, which I greatly enjoyed. I got a sun staff for my wildfire druid. It's sort of a newer magical item. +1 staff deals extra fire damage on a hit, gives you basically empower spell on 1 fire or radiant spell per day, and lights up with sunlight. Thematically, it works really great on my character, having a sun theme to tie the fire and plant growth sides of the subclass. Mechanically, oh, it rips. Shillelagh with the extra fire damage is solid. Plus, I picked up my GFB and BB to stack extra damage on there. With GFB, I can also add my enhanced bond extra damage. So, I basically have a fire smite. Re-rolling low rolls on a big fire or radiant spell is also really nice, even if it's only once a day, and I'm the kind of guy that always has a flashlight or lantern, so I appreciate the at-will sunlight. Hey everyone, Brian Von VA checking in after the vid. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe, ring that bell, and let us know in the comments below what was the best magical item you have ever received. And of course, if you ever want to help out the channel, you can follow us on all of our different socials to make sure we all grow, and join our membership program because, quite frankly, we love making videos for you, and we do hope that we can do so for a long, long time. We love you all. Please be safe, happy, and healthy. Toodaloo for now.